fellow Nigerians, it is with a heart full of sadness that I address you today. I have, in the last 3 decades, devoted my life to the battle to birth and deepen democracy in our country. It was a battle that started during the military era. It was a struggle that nearly cost me my life and that of my son, Adamu, who is seated here today in Kaduna, where 8 policemen were killed in their attempt to save our lives. I survived the assassination only by the mercies and grace of God. Following that attack, I was forced into exile. But that attack claimed the precious lives of those policemen in the service of our dear country. That was not all. My businesses were nearly crippled, and my signature business was eventually appropriated by the maximum ruler in power at that time. My commitment to enthroning democracy ensured that I joined forces with other compatriots. As a leader of the defunct Social Democratic Party, together with our current chairman, we fought and won the 1993 presidential election, which was acclaimed as the fairest and freest election in our history. There was no internet then. No internet. Yet it was the freest and the fairest election. Sadly, Chivenko Abiola, who embodied that hope for the birth of a new Nigeria, paid the ultimate price, including his wife. Our fight to enthrone democracy continued. Indeed, the motivating factor for the birth of the People's Democratic Party was to force the exit of the military from government and their permanent return to the military barracks. Today, we have succeeded in doing that. Following the exit of the military and the advent of democratic rule in 1999, I did not rest on my oars. I deployed the same level of commitment to advance and deepen our democracy. I did this because our democracy was bought at a huge price of human lives. My mentor and true Nigerian hero, who this venue, which we are gathered this evening, is named for, was one of those who paid the ultimate price in that battle. Before my eyes, the military murdered him. So also was Chief Alfred Rewani, Chief MQ Abiola, and his dear wife, Chief Mrs. Kudra Abiola, and many others. It was also for this reason that I sacrificed my political aspiration and fought against the actualization of the third term. Whether during the military or civilian era, I have, no matter how inconvenient, pitched my tent with the people against dictators. During the military regime, it nearly cost me my life again and the near decimation of my businesses. In the civilian administration, it had serious adverse implications on my political life. But I have remained undoubted because I was and still convinced that the only reason why I am in politics is to work in tandem with other compatriots in the advancement of the well-being of our people. The 2023 presidential election presented our nation and its people the greatest opportunity for a reset. We had everything going for us. A legal framework in the 2022 Electoral Act and the BVAS technology. The enthusiasm of Nigeria to come out and in large numbers was an added bonus. However, the dreams and aspirations of Nigerians who faced all the challenges to go and cast their votes on Saturday, 25th of February 2023, were shattered by the conduct of the Independent National Electoral Commission, which failed woefully to live up to expectations. The weekend election was neither free nor fair. Preliminary assessments indicate that it is the worst conducted election since the return of democracy. The manipulation and fraud that attended this election was unprecedented in the history of the nation. I can still not understand why the electoral empire was in such a hurry to conclude collation and announcement of the results, given the number of complaints and irregularities of bypassing of the BVAS, failure of uploading to the IRV, and unprecedented cancellations and disfranchisement of millions of voters in breach of the Electoral Act and the Commission's own guidelines. It was indeed a rape of democracy. Having consulted with leaders of our party who are seated here with me, and Nigerians from different walks of life, I have come to the conclusion that the processes and outcome of the Presidential and National Assembly election of last Saturday was grossly flawed in every material particular, and as such must be challenged by all of us. This has been attested by both local and international observers. Just as I was about to enter this conference hall, the chairman and I read an Austrian news report, that the Nigerian drug baron has emerged as the president of Africa. I want to believe that this was not the legacy that President Muhammadu Buhari has promised. For President Buhari, it is not too late to make amends for the good of our country and the future generations, and indeed to assure his legacy. This battle to right the wrongs of Saturday is not about me at all. It is not about me. It is about you, and it is about the future of those of you who are seated here. It is also a continuation of my battles to deepen democracy and for a better life for our people. It is about the future of Nigerian youths. I know that Nigerians, especially the youth, are traumatized by the developments. But I want to urge them to conduct themselves peacefully. Like I have done over the years, I assure you that I will commit the rest of my life in ensuring that true democracy, which affirms the supremacy of your votes and your will take firm footing and guarantee a stable, prosperous, and peaceful Nigeria. This is more so as Nigeria represents the hope of Africa and the Black world. It is my hope that the judiciary will redeem itself this time around and rise to the society's expectation as the last hope of our people. In the end, who wins is not as important as the credibility of our elections and electoral processes. I call on all men and women of goodwill to join hands with us in the vanguard to defend our Constitution from the brigandage of anti-democratic forces. Finally, I urge Nigerians to remain vigilant and resolute. You have the constitutionally guaranteed right of freedom to choose your leaders. We will not, and I repeat, we will not sit idly by and watch your rights taken from you. Your voices will be heard. May God bless you, and may God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. On the issue of court, of course, our lawyers are studying the results, of the election, and we await for their advice. So whatever they advise, then the party will meet, and then we decide the next line of action. Well, first and foremost, about the Labour Party, whether at the time Peter decided to leave PDP and join Labour Party, we had not, I believe, begun our primary process. So the question of whether he was going to get a ticket or not, did not arise. Yes, agreed, that is a fact. He took our votes from the southeast and south-south. And that, of course, would not make him a president. For sure. You all know that to be a president in this country, you need votes from everywhere. So, as far as I'm concerned, Peter is welcome to dialogue with PDP. We are ready to dialogue with him. So I don't think we will have any problem if he wants to dialogue with PDP. Whether form an alliance or not. But I also want you to recall that I was the first candidate to say that because of the way Nigeria has been governed in the last 7 to 8 years, there has been deep divisions between North and South, East and West. And I said to Nigerians, if I happen to be elected president, the first thing I will do is to form a government of national unity. What do I mean by that? I mean, I will look at the performance of each political party and bring them into the government so that first and foremost, we reunify this country and bring about peace and stability. It is only when you do that, then you will be able to start developing the country, whether economically or otherwise. You cannot develop a country that is deeply divided, that is in crisis. So I was the first to commit to the formation of government of national unity. And I also have it on record that when I ran in 2019, I picked an Igbo man as a running mate, simply because I felt that after any other zone again, the next zone must be the Southeast. In 2011, I also picked another Igbo man. And in 2023, I also picked another Igbo man. And I have always said that I will be a stepping stone to an Igbo presidency. Because there is no zone alone in this country that can produce a president on its own. I have always told my Igbo compatriots, I said, look, you negotiate for power. You don't fight for it. You negotiate for it. So, for anybody to think, that I have anything against Lego, I think Peter was in a rush. Do you know why I say he was in a rush? When the campaign started, and our PDP governors sat down and said they must produce the president amongst them. They must produce a vice president amongst them. They must produce a chief of staff amongst them. Peter got scared and left. I did not get scared. I stood up against the governors. When we formed this PDP, some of them perhaps were in secondary school or university. So why should I be afraid? So I stood up and I fought them. They fought me, yes, and I fought them. And I won the primaries. So if he was there, nothing could have stopped him from becoming, a running mate. Because I had the right to choose whoever I wanted, as my running mate. So the question of whether I will work with Peter or not, whether Peter wounded PDP, yes, to some extent he did. Because all the votes he carried, there are PDP votes in the south, south, and the southeast. So that's true. But that's politics anyway. But whether he will achieve his objective, by that or not, that is left to God to decide. So the next is the issue of judiciary. For those of you who don't read, because I know you young people now, it's only computer, on the phone, everything. You don't read textbooks. You must remember that I took my boss, a sitting president, to court 11 times. 11 times from trial court up to Supreme Court. I swear, if there is a Quran here, I swear I never saw any judge from the trial court up to the Supreme Court. And yet I got judgments against a sitting president. Do you think it is possible today to do it? Abba, let us tell ourselves the truth, madam. 11 times from trial court up to Supreme Court. Wallahi, I never saw a single judge. I got judgment at the trial court, I got judgment at the appeal court, and I got judgment at the Supreme Court. That's why I said, how will I do this? And that's why I decided to publish a book called Landmark Constitutional Cases, the Atiku Abubakar cases, for those constitutional law students. So, I cannot say whether it is the same judiciary or not until I test them. So I hope I have answered all your questions. Well, what can I do if I don't get a favorable judgment at the apex court? I appeal to God.